Far away.
Now this right here is 1970 something Volvo something
S10.
All right. As you can see, not on the road since 1988, which is a good sign. We do have fuel injection, and I just purchased this fine motor vehicle, no title, for $1. This is our second $1 car.
This is our second $1 car.
Aside from our Toyota Previa. So as you can see, very minor cleaning and detailing needs to be done to her. This will buff out, I believe. You want to see a Phillips head sort of screw just kind of in your window, straight through the glass. That's desirable in these cars. That adds value.
Numbers matching.
Bringing you up to...
Let's see what the mileage is. Only 71,000 or 171 or 271 or 3.
Something here, something about a vehicle inspection certificate, maybe like 2011, maybe
or
like
1988.
No, this is 1988 as well. This is it means November.
Expires last day of month indicated 1988.
Yeah, so the registration on this expired November.
When this was purchased new.
So
wow.
70-something, don't know. This is an original Swedish car. As you can see, it says assembled in Belgium. It does not have a VIN number because it's old and Swedish. So
yeah. Oh, you know, I wonder if the VIN number was on the dash and it's
it
just
might
gone.
have been.
But
yeah,
usually,
that's a good point.
Usually, though, they don't put the usually though the VIN numbers are a solid part of the body. At least you know whenever everything was standardized, which wouldn't be whatever year this is.
We have procured an Optima battery, which was I guess previously inside of some kind of truck. I don't really know about that one.
This is mechanical fuel injection.
This is your fuel distributor.
Yes.
Oh look, this hose clamp. It disintegrated and now it's right here.
Oh.
So that was there. And now
so we have, I guess this is just a vacuum line to some kind of solenoid that is not plugged in.
Yeah, well, we're not going to need that.
Not when we put dual Webers on it.
So now it is time for us to, first of all, I just checked the dipstick earlier, but I'm
yeah,
do it
show
again
it
for the camera. You got
to
to put your hand right next to the 10,000 volt distributor here to get your dipstick out.
Oh, yeah.
And you will find
the other
this
distributor.
Is the cleanest oil I have ever seen in a car that hasn't run since 1988. Or at least hasn't been legally on the road since 1988. I don't know about run or illegally on the road. Anyway, pretty good oil.
And this is the AC compressor. Let me get a better focus.
Some nice baling wire holding this out of the fan.
That's what you want.
Pretty good design.
But we actually do have a fan clutch compared to a solid drive, which is good.
That will mean more horsepowers. This is very dry.
Bone dry, which is acceptable. It probably just evaporated because it's been sitting so long. Let's see what's in the radiator. The Radiator, which is metal and can actually be repaired if broken. Oh, this is
it does have fluid in it.
Okay.
So I think she's ready to start. You want to hook the battery up? Should we try to connect the battery?
Not yet. Let's wait on that. I'm going to show the interior and then I will assist with the battery. This is a beautiful two-door Volvo 142 is what it is from the 70s. The interior and the doors. Like no sagging, nothing weird. Of course, the door seals aren't horrible. I've definitely seen better days.
This is a factory 4-speed
There
car.
isn't really an interior.
This
we have
what it's supposed to look like.
We have the interior.
All of this down here, this is
but
acceptable.
This will be fun. This is what's going to be really fun.
This here also is...
Yep, we'll just zip tie that into place.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, look at the seats. Look at the back seats,
It smells like a 70s Volvo.
It smells like a 70s Volvo that's been sitting since 1970.
I haven't quite figured out how to put her in reverse, but we do have first, second, third, and fourth.
I haven't quite figured...
Yeah, it takes a little bit of...
Can I see that?
This is neutral, so that's
It's only a 4-speed.
Second, third, fourth. I don't know where reverse is or how to get there.
You just push it harder.
Probably just wasn't a dealer.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, it's dealer installed reverse.
Yeah, it just.
And of course we have a tire iron, so we've already gotten our dollar's worth and the rest of the hubcaps.
There you go.
So clutch feels great, nice and springy.
Brakes?
Pedal fully seized as far as I can tell.
Makes good noises at least.
It still does have brake fluid. Let's go inspect.
Great visibility.
Let's go inspect that brake fluid.
Cat.
Dude, these are some huge doors.
Yes.
Some big doors.
Tiny car, big doors.
Tiny engine.
Probably.
Let me muscle off the reservoir because I'm stupid.
There's might be a little rust on here.
On
I
plastic.
cannot get this off.
Okay, we'll not worry about that.
We'll get some vice grips later.
Since there's visible fluid that looks a little thicker than water, we'll assume that it's brake fluid and not water. So we'll go ahead and obviously we got the nice Ford blue color on the valve cover here. We're going to off camera do stupid stuff with the battery because we we're going to do some research. We assume that this is a body negative. You know, I've been working on a lot of 20s and 30s cars for somebody, and they are 2 to be exact. So we're going to make sure this doesn't need a positive body. I don't think it does, but we're going to double check because we don't want to fry all 3 electronics in the vehicle. We're going to do that off camera so we don't make fools of ourselves. No, it's fine. Just obviously she won't start just due to the gasoline condition, if there is any gasoline left, and it's not all converted itself into 7590. So if you just want to go bump the key, we'll see if the engine turns over, and then we will begin inspection of the fuel system.
All right. Oh, we got lights on the dash.
Oh, hold on a sec. Let's look at those because that's so exciting. Ooh, it's parking brake. Hey, the brake failure light isn't on. That's good.
I'm gonna pull this up because that makes me feel better.
Make sure she's in
Wait,
neutral.
hold on, I'm gonna record the first sounds of life. All right, she's ready.
Clutch is in neutral.
Oh, sounds strong.
Actually, doesn't sound bad. Okay, stop. Next, spark. So we pulled a spark plug. A little bitty gap, but that's fine because we're going to boost this, obviously. I see anti-seize. This is either anti-seize particles or lead. Did we have leaded gas when this thing ran? I don't remember.
Maybe you did in Sweden.
We're not going to be putting that back on.
Not in America, but in Sweden, probably.
Just a little dab will do you.
I hope I have to run this thing on leaded gasoline.
Yes, lead substitute all the way, just like the
So you
1930.
take the carbon choke cleaner and then the air tool oil to clean all that up.
We're
the
not
excess.
going to be doing that.
We're just
Why
pulling
did you
some
put?
plugs.
Why did I let you put anti-seize? We're checking for spark.
Yeah, it's gonna ground better, dingus.
So we're just checking spark on that guy, and then we're probably going to take a look at fuel when it inevitably sparks perfectly fine because it's mint.
Yes.
So do you want me to crank here? You want to take that?
Yep.
I can't wait to watch Chandler get shocked by this.
Yes.
That's why I make him do this while I turn the key.
Correct. Do it again. Hold on. Let me find a better
Yeah,
ground.
that would be nice. Probably getting the valve cover.
Yeah. Okay, so we're checking for 12 volts to the coil.
Where
is
is
the
the
coil?
coil?
It's down here.
We have the distributor.
Oh yeah, by the way, you can't get parts for these, so we will be dismantling and rewinding the coil ourselves with some Home Depot number 3 copper wire. Okay, we're getting, okay, there's 10 volts.
You want me to crank more?
No. Hold on a sec.
I just turned it off.
Crank again. Oh, there's spark. We're getting spark. Okay.
It fixed itself.
It fixed itself.
Yes.
By touching the multimeter leads to it, we probably like tightened the connection at like 1/64th because it was probably just so loose and corroded. Yeah. So it's fixed. We're getting spark, which means with fuel and no coolant, she will run.
So let's unhook that and just spray a whole gobload of brake clean in it. Ready?
Yep. All right, hit the key again. Those motor mounts are ideal.
Oh, she smells so good.
All right, we are recording. We are, as you can see, unhooking the fuel filter there to try to see if we have any fuel pressure whatsoever. My guess.
We need to figure out. We need to probably figure out where fuel pressure is coming from instead of just unhooking random crap. And
Well, unhooking random crap will tell us where the fuel pressure is supposed to come from. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are testing currently. We are doing a little bit of diagnosis on the fuel pump, trying to figure out how we can get fuel into those cylinders. Chandler's underneath where we found the electric fuel pump. We got Connor in the front seat operating the key.
Okay, we're testing for resistance at the fuel pump connector. It is open, which is not good. Oh! Wait a sec. We're getting a little resistance.
Connor, are you messing with the key?
Messing with the shifter.
Can I have the rubber mallet? I'm gonna gently tappy tap on that fuel pump. All right, so this is our fuel pump,
Yeah, we just pulled the fuel pump off the Volvo here.
and
This, we just did 4 flatheads. I know, genius flatheads.
there's like little veins
Got a
in
nice
here.
O-ring in here we want to consider, and
Little veins, and they're these little things, kind of like a transmission
We're
pump.
kind of slotted in there.
And this isn't rotating, which it should.
Yeah,
so
we're
since
hoping.
this is $700 on Amazon, maybe we can get it to
The other one's
unseize.
pretty much fell out, but this guy is
Yeah,
not.
we need some brake clean and
Get
WD-40.
DW40 and brake clean.
It's not gas anymore.
This was gas at one point.
At one point. Alright, so we got a rag and some vice grips. We put them on the shaft there and we twisted it a little bit. And now she spins freely, so we'll hook her up on 12 volts. She's working now. So now we should at least get fuel. So next step. I got it. Record. We going?
Yeah.
Alright, fuel pump running, not pumping. I wonder why. We loaded one in with carb clean, and there's a lot of junk.
Yeah, lots of nasty stuff in that their fuel pump. So hopefully that's the fix.
I don't know why they're kicking us out of this shop.
No clue.
No clue. Alright, so good thing is we found some spare parts, including touch-up paint.
And a turbine.
A turbine.
For the blower motor.
For the blower motor. There's another one right there.
Look, we have a whole fan.
Whole clutch fan assembly. Most of the interior looks to be here. Extra radiator hose.
Steering
looks like an idler arm or something. Additional
something.
Whoosy what's-its. Yeah, I'm filming what's in the trunk. And it's a replacement or old Bosch unit. This is for the fuel injection, which we will show where that's on the car in just a sec.
Menti thermostat.
Menti thermostat, some old spark plugs. And what did you find?
So, what you got to know here, 4 total fuel pumps. One of them was installed in the car. One of them is this, which doesn't match the rest of them. Then we had this was the one installed in the car. This was extra fuel pump number 1, and extra fuel pump number 3 is what's installed now and is working. So, first fuel pump, the one installed, was seized, and even once we did get it spinning, wouldn't pump any liquid, which is kind of important for the function of a fuel pump. Pump number 2 wasn't seized. You just hook it right up with our little patented baby bottle gasoline feeding system, duct tape included.
Yes.
And it pumped great. It shot a ton of pressure out of here. I felt really good about it. It also puked pressure out of these 2 holes, which you can see I've now filled with JB Weld. That was the only problem with it, so I thought we were going to use this one, and I just was leaving it to cure. But while I was waiting for it to cure, I got the second extra one, the third one that matches. And that is the one that's installed in the car right now. All I did to it, take off this top piece, and where the rotor is inside of it was all totally rusty and horrible. I gave it a nice treatment of WD-40, brake parts cleaner, and compressed air, and got her unseized, and that's the one that's in there now, and it is pumping correctly. Though, for how long? Who knows? How much rust was in there.
And what do you think's wrong with that one that you just set down? What do you think made it not
I think
pump?
it's because some goober just took this guy and the intake and just put 90 pounds of air and just went shh, and it just made a huge mess.
Clean. And
That's the technical explanation.
alright, let's go to the hood.
Getting it running on one battery?
Yes.
It is an Optima though.
So with our functional fuel pump, we're getting fuel through here and to the fuel distributor. Our return lines are all dry rotted though, which is a problem, and we will be fixing them. This one's puking gas, but it's return, so the return can just go into the depths of the void and eat away at the epoxy floor. We are getting gas out of 2 of the 2 of the distributor lines, the fuel distributor lines. And this is a fuel injector for this thing, which sits in this housing. And where's the other rubber piece? Yeah, it goes in kind of like that. So it sits like that and goes in, just sets in. There's a single bolt for it. There's also the little piece that's supposed to hold that. We need this too. And this goes on here. And that screws on, and then that bolts on. So,
alright, we are rolling now on injector removal. I don't know how well you guys can see what's going on in here, but we are using a little impact screwdriver.
For brake rotors, for removal of brake rotors that have like the Phillips screwdriver from the factory.
Let's see if I can get a better angle on this here.
Should probably be keeping track of which cylinders these go to. So that's 3.
So here, let me see if I can get this in focus for you guys. That is where that's the injector. And there's a little plate, and you need to get that Phillips head screw out to pull the plate and the injector out, but they're really stuck in there, and it's hard to do it with a regular screwdriver, so we're going to watch Chandler do it with the...
So this is an impact screwdriver for removing brake rotors that have like the screws on them from the factory. I'll put a link in the description where you can buy this. So we'll get that centered if you want to back the camera away. We get a dead blow hammer and then get this set up. Give it a good whack, and I don't think that was good enough.
That didn't do anything.
You're right. Let me make sure that she's set up correctly.
Yeah, and you got to make sure with these that they are set to loosen if you want to loosen, because
Just
tightening
give me some room. Here, let me
will
switch
make
it.
everything worse.
Hit it.
Yeah, I was barely tapping it just because I didn't want to whack you in the face. So hold on to it and just...
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
And as you can see, we've broken that Phillips loose.
Number 2, and this is number 1. Alright, we're rolling. Alright, so next,
As you can see, we got that guy loosened
move the
out.
screw. And this comes out just like a regular screw, nothing special there. And then this comes
plate
out.
and the injector
And
out.
the
all
rubber
in one
doesn't
piece.
look horrible. And this little plate here is a little rusted on there, but it separates. And then this is the injector. And pressure, it's continuous injection, so it's always injecting. The amount of injection is controlled by the pressure, which we're still trying to kind of figure out how it works. There's a little air plate inside here in the air box, and the engine vacuum basically controls it. Like I said, we're still trying to figure that out for ourselves, but right now we just want to get it running. So this little injector piece here, Reed is about to go inject WD-40, brake clean, and about 70 psi of compressed air to try and blast some of the junk out of here, because these were not firing before. So we're going to see what we can do. All right, so what are you doing there, bud?
All right, well, this is our Bosch number 4 injector here. We're just getting a good bit of DW40 in there, which will sort of hydraulic up against the injector and give us the huge factor we need when we just jam 65 psi
Oh, there we go.
to get fuel. Well,
Oh, that's
not
nice
fuel in
and
that
clean.
case, but
Fuel and musical noises.
WD-40 is technically fuel.
it will probably run on DW40.
Considering this has more compression than my truck, which is funny.
Yeah, I think this thing has 10.5 to 1 compression, but it might also be the lower compression version. Either way, it's blowing out pretty good. Just get a little brake clean to wash
Hey, if it
down.
runs, who cares, right?
Get a little brake clean to wash her down.
That air is set to about 70 psi. All right.
And we're good.
Give it the full beans. Are we ready?
No, hold on.
Fire away!
All right. Give in the beans.
Okay. Stop.
Stop. Okay, we're dripping here, which is what we expected.
We might put a drain pan under the car.
We had pressure in these before.
We did, but are we getting enough pressure?
Yeah, that's
The kind of the question here. Let's get a better focus on that. This is inside the CIS block. This is the distributor block for the fuel. Fuel comes out of these tubes and goes to the injectors.
To be clear, we're looking at the bottom side of
And this is the bottom side. So on the car, this actually sits kind of like that, and then this is the cap on it. You know, I'll put a better picture of it. But one of our issues is this little rod in here is what actually gets controlled. Whenever we push the throttle in, we'll show you in a sec once we move the stuff out of the way, but there's a little flap that moves up as air gets sucked past it, and it controls how much this rod moves in and out. Well, what we discovered is after about 25 years of having no gasoline in this thing, this has varnished and seized. So after removal, a lot of brake clean and WD-40, she is very movable and is definitely going to run correctly. Right?
I love it. Utmost confidence.
So this is a mechanical mass airflow sensor.
Hello, my name is...
So by this opening, there's a small piece in here that opens as well. And what that does is this little plunger on this other side here, it pushes it up, which increases the fuel pressure, which sends more pressure to the injectors, which gives more flow. So it's like a mechanical carburetor almost. It's weird. So if you want to hold on to that, we have an O-ring from the parts store that's probably not the right one because the original one has been lost. We're just gonna installate this, and
I see no problems with that.
just a small little dollop of DW40.
Just a dabble, do ya?
A little dabble, do ya?
We've fixed so far everything on this car
Everything
with
on this car has been
WD-40
fixed.
and brake parts cleaner, so we're going to
WD-40
try to
and brake
continue
parts
that trend
cleaner.
here.
So do you
Plus some $5 O-rings from the greasy old O'Reillys.
yeah. So do we want to put? I think we're going to want to put.
Alright, so now we are installing the springs and their caps in here. This is the top half of the housing for the CIS fuel distributor. So it's got 4 injectors because 4-cylinder.
Oh, mama.
So you got four springs that go in there, which act against the resistance of, fuel pressure and stuff, and it makes spood happen.
That is correct.
Prove me wrong in the comments.
Well, I think the only thing to prove wrong is that it makes food. It actually makes slow.
Did you just put WD-40 in each of those?
Yeah. Is that a problem?
I know.
Well, because these O-rings are kind of dry
Yeah, but
And the
we can't
spring-
fix that.
on each one.
I don't think that's going to be a problem, those
I don't
O-rings.
think it will.
I think they're going to be alright.
So.
Alright, and as you can see over top of these springs, we are sticking down these little caps that go on top of them, which allow for a surface to interface with the diaphragm. Fixed!
What are you doing there, bud?
I'm reinstallating the fuel pump that has even more JB Weld than this one. JB Weld held up well to gas, though.
That color looks lovely.
Oh,
Well,
yes, that's a
it's sort
good
of
color.
The baby Vom JB. Here, point the light over here for me. Alright, we're gonna need to get enough stork and dork.
I am not a tripod.
No, you're not.
We're rolling.
So this is the ASE certified method for reconditioning your CIS system. This is 2000 grit sandpaper that we are putting water on as Grayson is lighting his shoes and pants and other elements of his wardrobe on fire.
Hi there.
We are
it
actually
going?
working on making the car run, and by making the car run, that's good. Okay, I don't know where I was going
I
with
can't
that.
really do anything, so I'm going to be productive in my own way over here.
That's perfectly acceptable.
You could go reinstallate the fuel pump.
You want me to do it?
Only if you want to.
Okay. Let me finish charring my shoe here.
Okay, sir, that's great.
So basically, we're just making the mating surface perfectly 100% smooth.
I think you're good. Just get around those edges.
So, yeah, so we're
Because
going to do that.
before, for context, before we started it and it ran okay, but it
For like half a second, and then it started flooding out again, which
but
It
this
hasn't
thing
made
was
sense to us
leaking
yet.
everywhere between the top and the bottom half. So
Yeah,
we
the-
are trying to
it was just
fix
dumping
that
fuel.
problem.
Yeah.
I think there might need to be an O-ring here.
We're going to watch a video on doing it one more time before we give it the full send.
All right, we are rolling.
So what we've done is 2000 and then 3000 grit wet sanded this, as well as that. Now the O-rings were placed at the bottom of there, which we determined serves no function. They were placed at the bottom of these little things where the springs went, where the springs should bottom out. So we've determined that serves no purpose after watching some rebuild videos, and that they're probably supposed to go here. So we've been through about 8 or so part store kits for the O-rings, and we are going to be, we just lost one. So
Good.
Can you go ahead and stick it in and stop talking?
yeah, I will. So there's probably a lot of material in there. So we're gonna line these up with the holes there because
there are 4 holes in there that go to each of the chambers.
There's a wear pattern that makes it look like O-rings were on it before.
And we saw a diagram where they were on there. Move your hand so we can get a shot
Of the hole.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
There's too much light on the hole.
So
I
we'll
was
just
going to say before you stuck it in, but...
slide that in.
That felt pretty like a positive sound. I feel very good about that.
It clicked.
So
And as we all know, kids, if it fits, what does that mean?
it ships.
That's exactly right.
This O-ring is just a little up, so we're gonna push it down just a little bit, being gentle not to actually puncture it. We're pushing it with
No,
the
you
side
can
of
puncture
the...
it. Yeah, it's all right.
Ideally, though, you don't.
Allows the O-ring to inflate and seal better if you have gas running through it.
Yes. So to test, well, not to test. So our next step is to hold
break
this, hold this so it doesn't clang together. And this little filter guy, which looks absolutely wonderfully in good shape, went in there, which means that, or did it go in here? I think it went in there.
Yeah, that makes some modicum
I
of
don't remember
sense.
seeing it when it came
So
out.
what we're going to do is hose this one down and brake clean. So this little fuel filter we've cleaned up as much as we can. So we're going to drop that down in there. And there is also, set this over here for the purposes of demonstration. Let's remove this again. There is a small O-ring that slides in there. And we removed we took a lot of random part store kits. So the O-ring kind of fits. So to assist us, and obviously in the comments y'all are probably going to light me up because this isn't exactly the right way, but it's the way that probably works. And to get plenty of...
It
For our
probably
purposes.
doesn't work,
For
but
our
you know
purposes.
what? It's a Friday night, and us losers have nothing better to do.
Correct. So we're going to just slather that seal with WD-40. And then we're going to take this plate, which we also cleaned up with the 3000
steel
grit.
diaphragm. It does have dents in it, which we were ignoring because the new one costs $80.
And this will go...
When this doesn't work, we're just going to buy the $80 O-ring plus steel diaphragm kit.
And then when that doesn't work, we're going to put Mikuni carburetors on it.
we're going to put a Weber on it.
A Weber, yes. Or dual Webers.
No, one Weber.
No,
So-
because dual Webers are $1,100+.
Oh, excellent. So,
I don't have $1,100+ to put into my $1 car. I hate to be
Right.
the one to tell you.
So we're
Even
going
though
to
it might
line
add
this
quite a bit of
up.
horsepower.
And that went together very nice and with
Lee?
no resistance.
Now it is
Which
time.
likely means that all of the O-rings are not making any kind of positive seal.
We'll find out
But we will find out, and
when
yes.
the car lights on fire because fuel is spewing everywhere.
So we're putting in the flathead bolts that go to clamp the two halves together now. I don't know what the torque spec is. We're going to try to look that up, and we'll get back to you.
Again!
It's too tight.
Plug in the,
Is the fuel
Oh
pump
my
plugged in?
goodness! Yes, it's plugged in. Holy cow! There it goes.
Hey,
Plugged in.
guys.
Yeah.
I hear some weird noises coming from the fuel pump.
I hear, it sounds like it's just spraying gas.
Yeah, Grayson, can you go check the fuel pump for us?
Yes. Give me a second.
As you can see, we are bubbling here, which means
JB Weld will be
we have a
installed.
slight trouble.
Are you holding that down? Hold on.
Yeah, just start it. Get in there.
What was that? Put it idle. Or not.
It doesn't have the enrichment. Hold the RPMs up a little bit.
Yeah,
So are we
okay.
just shooting out? This one we probably are.
Guys, I'm telling you, my AC is on.
There's the trouble.
Cool.
Okay, start it.
More beans. Well, let's just let it run for a minute.
Hey.
Pretty good.
Oh, we're bogging.
Yep. Yeah, it's clogging. It's clogging on throttle. I bet it's that second injector. It's just dumping
You know, we
fuel.
probably shouldn't let it warm up since there's no coolant.
You're probably right.
What do you mean no coolant?
There's no coolant in it, right?
Yeah, there is.
Is there?
Yeah. It has some.
This is still dumping.
Okay, so the second injector is still pumping
That could be
as
a
it's
problem.
off, which is mint.
Good.
Here, go ahead and crank. I want to watch this.
Clean it out in the flat throttle. There we go.
Idle air control.
Oh, shit. That's on. Yeah. All right. So, what is the conclusion, sir?
I think it needs a Weber.
I think it needs a Weber.
Weber. All right.
Weber.
So we're gonna put a 3236 on here, which should make it run pretty mint.
Just got to get the intake manifold plus the actual carb and a fuel pump.
Yes.
Or a regulator, but I really would like to just ditch these crappy CIS fuel pumps
and
altogether.
get a one that doesn't leak and requires 4 pounds of JB Weld.
Correct.
All right. So we will be back with news later on.
All right. So I was reading on a forum the other day, and
As he does.
As I do, and they make fun of me a lot because I make a lot of decisions based on the forums. So, yes, and the engine that is blowing, the piston, blah, 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 turbo, whatever. Okay, so, I was reading on the forums. This was actually an article that was archived, like probably from the 80s, geared towards mechanic shops on how to work on these and advise customers on the repairs that were needed, such as your fuel filter needs to be replaced a bunch because of the tight tolerances in these CIS injection, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, one of the things it said is that you need to advise your customer that your car is running pig rich by showing them the dipstick and lighting it on fire because there's so much gas in the oil. So, since the engine has been running, that would give a chance for any contaminants that settled at the bottom to stir up, so we wanted to check the oil. Well, the oil looks pretty good, still looks brand new, but and I just touched that on my nose. I noticed when I smelled it, it smells a lot like gas. So we're going to see if it lights, which it's not. All right, what are we doing?
Pulling pistons out of this caliper.
We're not replacing the seals. We're just
No,
lubricating
sir.
them and cleaning up the junk.
None of that will be necessary. As you can see, we have a genius double pry method happening here with the two broken screwdrivers, which is working
Actually, it was working pretty good
just
on that one.
about as well as you might expect it to.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
not
some
so
of them
bad.
are a lot more seized
Some of
than
them
others.
have had to have a lot more work than that done to them.
Doesn't that look tasty? Don't you want to just get a little sip of that?
Is that brake fluid?
Well,
Or is that
it wa-
DW40?
It was brake fluid.
Yeah, it was at one point. Brake fluid.
That one's not
This is going to be pretty. This one looks pretty easy.
Yeah, we've been struggling with some of them. Some of them have been giving us more trouble than others. That's what that 40-plus-year-old seal is for. So fear not, my friends. Fear not. All right, that looks not terrible. Never mind, that feels just god-awful.
Go ahead.
Alright, so we're just applying a little bit of brake fluid here out of the can to the sides of these, and I've also swiped on the inside of the bore there because, you know, you don't want to contaminate these with anything other than brake fluid because it's going to be exposed to lots of pressure. And those are just going to get set in their bore there. And
I think this will go in by hand.
Home Depot C-clamp time.
Hold on a sec.
Sir,
There you go. I feel really good about that seal right now.
Yes, I also do that. We will not be worrying about that for the time being. The Home Depot C-clamp will solve all of these troubles. And you're done. Reattach that to the other side of the caliper, stick it in the car, and theoretically, you're ready for boost. Oh, there you go. Just these little Torx 45s and an impact with a struggling battery. As you can see, we're missing a piece here. Well, a few. So we've actually yanked the intake manifold and everything that has anything to do with Bosch CIS-K Jetronic systems. And we're going to be replacing that with an eBay manifold, filling the injector holes with something, maybe injectors.
Probably
and
injectors.
Sticking a Weber carb right here, a 3236 Weber, just so we can get this thing on the road again, because that Bosch CIS injection system, I had no time for it, and we got rid of it. Let me organize this.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Bosch CIS. All right. I'm going to give you a quick little rundown. Quick how-to, quick start guide. All right. This is where your fuel comes in. This goes from your fuel filter, from your fuel pump.
Quick start, except it didn't start.
Comes right in the side of this little turd here. This leaky failure of a fuel system. Okay. Comes right in here. All right, and then there's this whole big hullabaloo in here with a steel diaphragm, like, you know, super thin, like printer paper thin. Steel diaphragm in here. You got lower chambers, you got upper chambers, you got a piston that goes up and down in there. All of this combined with this, by the way, which is to measure air coming in. I mean, for Christ's sakes, you've got a mechanical manual MAF sensor. That piece of shit's just going to flow all your air right in here past your filter, which pushes on a plunger inside of this stupid leaking garbage, which goes up and down and regulates fuel pressure that comes out of these four fucking injector lines. These stupid pieces of shit just go straight into your injectors right here. There's gas pissing everywhere. This stupid thing has got so many fucking hoses and clamps, and for Christ's sake, you got some kind of charcoal evap, except there's just a T through it, so I don't even think it flows through here. I'll be putting this on eBay. I would like to at least get $150, please.